Hello and welcome to another live stream. My name is Shane Olson and today we're going to start a new character. I don't know why it has these little black dots around him here. Let's clear those out. Paint. Ooh. Let's move this guy out of the way. If you have something like that, what you can do is you just click on paint on this wheel and then hold Alt plus Control and then click and drag, and it'll just make it go away. So anyway, welcome. We're going to start by hiding this ruler. A lot of people ask me about this ruler, by the way, why I have it. It's basically to measure out my characters in here. ZBrush doesn't really have a standard unit of measurement inside of here, so I like to give myself one. That's why I made this. So anyway, let's go ahead and hide that. We're going to start with this sphere, and I'm going to scale it up quite large. All right, here. It looks like we're going well. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. Looks like people are starting to roll in now. Hey Neil, how's it going? How's the sound? Is it loud? Is it quiet? Do I need to turn it up more? Okay. So I saw this guy. It's one of the. It's a design by Rich Cameron. I've sculpted some of his characters before. I just really love his designs. They make me laugh. So, yeah, I thought we'd go ahead and start blocking it out. Now, I think what I'm going to do is just color these as I go. So this will be the body. And you'll notice that when I grab colors off of this image, I have to have the ring showing. So this ring right here. This is called Spotlight. And if I hit Z or Z, this will show up. And then if I hit C, as in cat, it will allow me to select colors off of the image. So, hey Stefan, how are you? Welcome. I'm doing well, thanks. Oh, I guess I better select the color I want. Hit fill object, and then we're gonna scale this like so. That's kind of his body shape. I kind of want it to be a bit on the chubbier side. So let's go this way. This way. That feels about right. Something like that. I don't know if this is going to take me the whole hour, or the whole 2 hours, but we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. Thanks, Neil. So next, I think I'll make this this head bit. And what I'm going to do with that is select this primitive brush. Again, these are my brushes that I made for ZBrush. You can get them for free over on my website if you want to use them. And I have this, what I call an appendage brush, which is essentially an elongated sphere that's been tapered at one end. And then I added some extra, geometry in between the two ends here. So I'm going to grab this greenish color, and then we'll drag this appendage like so. And then I want to flip it around this and then stick it up there like that. And then we're going to go ahead. His neck is really skinny. So let's make it skinny. Got to turn off spotlight projection to make that work. Okay, and grab move and pull it on down. And then I'm going to make it kind of have this star pattern at the bottom here. This looks like a golf tee. Speaking of which, have you guys seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet? It's pretty hilarious. Just going to pull this out here because the eyes are going to sit on here kind of like a golf tee. Okay, but I already can tell that I want to go ahead and take this into Sculptris Pro mode so I can start to stretch out the geometry around the neck base and start to create this kind of the star pattern. So how do I do that? I'm going to go ahead and hit apply on this dynamic subdivision, and then go up to stroke, turn on Sculptress Pro. Let me grab a brush that will actually work with Sculptress Pro. Got to clear the mask off. Turn it on, and then I want to make sure that I have adaptive size turned off here. We're going to try it. I need to delete my subdivision levels, so I'm going to say delete lower. There we go. And then we're just going to try this. It looks like it's about the same, so that's good. I think I'm going to go ahead and split this off so I can work with it separately. So I'm going to hide the body and then say split hidden. And this menu that you see me using right here, this also comes with my custom user interface that I give away for free. I also have a video on YouTube that explains how to create your own custom menu like that. It's really easy. A lot of people complain about the ZBrush user interface, but it's probably the most customizable user interface I've ever dealt with, you know. Let's see. Hold on one second. Okay. My daughter's trying to talk to me. Okay, now this adaptive size will adjust how big the triangles are. Turn topological off. Sculptress Pro doesn't work with topological. So you want to have that turned off. This is topological masking, by the way. That just means whatever object you grab first, that's the one that is going to be affected the most. Oh goodness, what is going on? It's going to crash. Okay. Why is it adding so much? Oh, because I'm inflating? That's better. Okay. I'm going to try snake hook brush, because snake hook will generate new topology, whereas move will not. So as you can see, it generates a bunch of topology as I drag it out. Okay, I think we're good now. There we go. I'm going to turn the intensity down a little bit. It's a little too squishy. Okay, it's a little too low now. Okay. And how is everybody doing today, by the way? Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Okay, so you just kind of pull it out with snake hook. We'll make it symmetrical. Looks like a rooster foot a little bit. Let's kind of shrink this up a little bit here. Pull out another one. Make it roundish. You can also smooth it down. Like so. Let's come around the back side here. And the concept, I feel like it has a lot more of these little side jobbies, but this is feeling pretty good, I think. Kind of get them to flow up into the neck. This one's buried too much, so let's pull it up and out. And I feel like these could be longer, so let's make them longer and a little bit pointier. Snake hook automatically will make things a little pointier. If you want to go even pointier, crazy, I know, you can click on this Acu curve, which is essentially is like it will add a brush profile to the move, so it'll be way pointy. So if I click on that and then I pull it out, it'll be really pointy, like so. So if that's what you want, you can do that. But these, they're not that pointy. I'm going to slightly bury him into the surface. Okay, that's kind of fun. All right, I want his neck to be absurdly small though. So let's take the smooth brush and just go crazy with that and make it really small, and it's because it's funny. Half the things I do, I choose to do them because they're funny. If they make me laugh, it's all the better. Look how skinny that is. Is chat working, by the way? You guys are awfully quiet today. I love to hear from you. Like, what's going on? What's good? As Michael likes to say. He's another streamer on here. I don't know if he's been streaming too often lately. Okay. So we'll probably have to adjust that a little bit more because it feels too small compared to that body. So if that's the case, what do we do to make it bigger? We can just mask it off like this. Hit blur, blur it on out, flip it, and then we'll center the gizmo. Here, let's turn off symmetry for a second. Center the gizmo in there, turn symmetry back on, and then we can adjust. Here, we'll snap to the side, adjust the gizmo to the middle of that blurred mask section. Then we can kind of scale it out. I was trying to uniform scale it, but if I do, it's going to shove it down into the surface of that thing. And I just want to scale along an axis. So if you can see, if you hover over, say this Z axis, you can see down below it says Alt to scale on X and Y. So if I hold down Alt and see when I tap it, it comes back. And then it just scales on those two axes, which is awesome. So then it doesn't push down into the surface, but now it's kind of floating. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit, and then I'll go back and I'll kind of finish wrapping those things around the surface. All right. You guys are just quiet today, huh? Okay. Hey, there's something. Chat's working. Just enjoying watching you make El Banana Beak's neck. Yep. His beak does look like a banana. All right. That's feeling better. Looks like a splat. Good old splat neck. Okay. So next, let's work on, let's get this, the tail feathers in place. I think I'm going to do this in 4 parts. So we have like the tail stem, and then it kind of comes off like a palm tree. So let's do that. I typically don't use cylinders when I'm blocking out, but this is so cylindrical that it's kind of forcing my hand, as it were. Okay, let's see. So if you bring it out and then you push it back in, it will, on your way in, it's going to scale it along the, it's kind of like holding down Alt when you're using the gizmo. It scales along 2 axes and leaves the Z scale alone. Okay, so let's do a split unmasked points. Arrow down to select it. And then going to, why did that turn sideways? I'm going to do that one more time. Well, I'm not going to do that one more time. It's because I already split it off, and it doesn't let me go back to an unsplit state. So, all right. I'm going to try one more time. So I'm going to delete this subtool. Where did it go? Yeah, okay. So this is kind of a public service announcement here. Is whenever you insert something, I run into this all the time. Whenever you insert a mesh and then you split it off into its own, and then you undo it, like you hit undo, what happens is it brings back the original mesh that you drew it on. So now I have two bodies. See, you can see the original right here. Okay, and it has a stem on it, and then you have the actual body. So I'm going to go to this stem with the body. I'm just going to delete that and then do it again. So another thing that happens is when you go to insert an object, it's going to try and insert that object in the last known location of the gizmo, the last known rotation of the gizmo. And that's when you snap it. See how it's rotated? See how the gizmo is rotated all kind of wonky? What you want to do is hold down Alt and reset the gizmo orientation. Okay, before you insert a mesh if you want to snap it. So now when I drag, whoops, I gotta grab the right brush. Where did my insert brush go? I must have like replaced it with something else. It's right here, but I don't know. I don't know where it went. Okay, so we're gonna grab the cylinder and then do the same thing, insert it, and then push it back down. So now, because whenever you insert an object, it's going to put the gizmo at the base of that object. Hey, Adelia, how are you? Trying to finish my piece for the challenge. Awesome. You're doing your MPC. Are you talking about the 3D Character Workshop Challenge? Okay, now I'm going to split this off. I want to FDM. I think that's the more stronger plastic one. 3D print a load of these to leave them around the house. Yeah, they're just sitting there. That'd be funny. Yeah, FDM printer. That's the one that is made of like it reminds me of cake decorating. It like pushes plastic out of the nozzle. Okay, I'm gonna save this because I feel like it's on the brink of collapse. Okay, reference, Twitch, CTLs. Let's call this Rooster Rich Cameron. Cam. It helps if I can spell. Okay. Yes, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna try it again. Split unmask points. See, it's not doing it for some reason. It's just refusing me. All right, fine. I guess I'll just leave it. I don't know why it's refusing to do that, to split it, but I'm going to say group split. Let's try that. Group split. And it is there something hidden in here? Okay. Oh, there's a second. Why is there a second? Okay, let's do it. That's why it's not working. Auto groups. Let's get rid of this guy. I love it when things go wrong because then I can walk you through how to fix things. I feel like in ZBrush, you can never dig yourself, or let's see, there's no problem that you can't dig yourself out of. How's that? Typically, right? If your mesh is having a problem or something isn't going to work, there is some problem solving that you can do to get your way out of it. You might not know how to do it, but there is a way. There's always a way. Even if that means exporting your subtools out as an OBJ and importing them back in, that strips everything off your mesh, by the way. If you're ever just like, why isn't this working? There's two steps. One is like the IT situation, which is turn ZBrush off and back on again, right? That fixes like 90% of the problems. I was thinking maybe I would have to reset my ZBrush. But the other thing is try a bunch of things to try and fix it. Like if your mesh is exploding or something like that when you're trying to do certain things. After you reset ZBrush, usually that will fix it. But if it doesn't and it's still exploding, what you can do is select the exploding mesh before it explodes. And then use this export option, and that will export it as an OBJ. And like I said, an OBJ is just a file full of points, like it's just like every point has 3 coordinates, the XYZ coordinate, and it's just a big text file. So it's really, really simple, and it just strips everything off of there. I believe it also holds on to vertex coloring information. So it's a really good way to reset stuff. All right, I have my headphones on and I'm not listening to anything. So I need to get some music going. Hold on 1 second. I actually have a playlist called Songs to Sculpt To. All right. And it's just a bunch of like movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks and just kind of non-verbal musical stuff. Hey Abe, have you modeled anything on the ZBrush app on the iPad? I have. ZBrush does have many ways to break things where you don't notice it till it's too late. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, the thing that I often accidentally do the most, I'll either have a mask which has shot all the way through to the other side of my mesh, so I end up moving something I didn't mean to, or else something is in the same poly group, like off in space, like a finger or something that I don't know it's in the same poly group, and I'm working down on this one location, rotating it, and then I'll zoom out, and then the finger will be out in space somewhere. You know, those are those are some fun things. Let me see if I can pull up an image of an alligator that I did in ZBrush on the iPad. Give me just 1 second. Oh, there it is. Here it is. I made this. Yeah, I made this on. I was on the beta, and I was able to make this on the iPad. So this is rendered in Nomad, which is on the iPad as well. So I just rendered it over there because it was easy to, since it was already on my iPad, I could just move it over there and render it. But yeah, this was something I did over there. I really love how this turned out. I love this little bird. Again, it makes me laugh. I love how he's just kind of, the crocodile's dreamy-eyed, like he's wishing, like he's trying to imagine what it would be like to fly. And this bird is just like, what are you looking at me like that for? You know, it's like this whole story just by the looks in their eyes and what they're doing. It's really funny. Okay. Let's get back to this tail. I want to mask this off and split it off. Okay, so let's try it again. Split unmasked points. Yay, it worked. Okay. But it disappeared, so I have to hit the eyeball to make it come back. And I want to bend it like this, but whoops, I'm going to select it and move it like this and bring it down to where it connects. And I'm looking at the beginning and I'm looking at the end, and I can't bend it in the middle because I don't have enough loops going down the length of this thing. Josh, that, you know, I render most of my stuff in Blender, I have to say. In fact, let me show you something. So the character that I just finished from last week, Hammerhead, I rendered him in Blender. And let me bring him up and show you. Let me see, hold on 1 second. We gotta find a version of him. I also tried rendering him in Nomad and it didn't turn out as well. Blender just has, even the real-time renderer is better, but it was still pretty good. Let me see. Okay, come on. Man. I found it, but I need to. It's like filling up the whole stinking thing. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna snip it so I can show it to you. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. Good old Roron Korob. Anyway, that's how it turned out. Yeah, I rendered this real time in Blender. I figured out how to make stuff glow. I just found a YouTube video that showed me how to do it. And then I changed some of this stuff, like I added some metallic stuff to these little guys and these little details, and I think I have 3 lights in here, 3 area lights. One from the back to make it the lightsaber is actually lighting it up, you know. Abe, I don't think so. ZBrush is like the best sculpting app there is out there. Since Maxon purchased ZBrush, they made it so you can render with Redshift inside of ZBrush. It's an extra cost, I believe, but you can do it. And I actually have a video with Ian from Maxon, and we go over how to render in Redshift inside of ZBrush in that video. Neil, would you mind looking that up and posting it? Well, or sending it to me on Discord and I can post it. Anyway, it's just, yeah, we rendered out my, my Wolverine inside there, and it turned out pretty good. So I like Redshift. It's just a little more, there's a little more to it than rendering in Blender. So I think CPU Redshift is included, but GPU is extra. That's good to know, Blood Rapture. Thanks for that detailed info. Yeah, I need to try it out a little bit more. But I have to say, I like the way this guy turned out. I really love his clothing and all these wrinkles. The hands, I think if I were to 3D print him out, I'd have to thicken these fingers somewhat, especially these. They kind of look spiderish. So, but other than that, I could probably print him out. He'd turn out okay, I think. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Okay. Oh, you posted my songs to sculpt too? Cool. Some of the songs on there make you feel pretty epic when you're sculpting. That's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna do insert multiple edge loops, not just a single. And then I'm gonna click and drag. I just need a couple in here, not too many. Let me see, 1 second. Okay. It's funny. This is it reminds me of that an old Warner Brothers cartoon with Donald Duck, where he's messing with the artist that's drawing him, and the artist like keeps erasing body parts and replacing them with other things. You sent it to me on Discord. Okay, thank you. Let me check it out. Okay. Here is the Redshift rendering. I am saying that right, correct? Redshift? Okay. So they have like other things. Okay, there you go. That's the video with Ian and I talking about rendering in Redshift. Thanks, Neil. Awesome. Neil's the best, you guys. Shout out to Neil. Thank you very much. He's like my AI that's not AI. He's a real person. Okay, uncrease all. I'm gonna do group by normals, which is gonna give me a normal or a group on the top and the bottom, and then crease polygroups. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Neil. All right. So now that we have this, the gizmo is still parked down at one end. And to bend this, it's kind of overkill. There's several ways I can bend this, but My favorite way recently is just bend curve inside of the gizmo gear menu. And what it does is, if you have the gizmo lined up properly, which is, you know, having it at one end pointing down to the other end, it will give you these two orange dots. And then you can increase the resolution by pulling on this little handle here. Okay, now it's given me 5 points along this curve. I think I could probably do it in 3. It's like name that tune. I could do it in 3 points. Because I'm just wanting a curve like this. A nice curvy curve. That's it. And then when I'm done, you just click on this gear again. Sometimes this gear is hard to see. It's kind of hidden. But you click on this gear, hit accept, and then you're good to go. And then you can go about your business. That's it. Okay, and then to make these feathers, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but my favorite way is to create a temporary object in space and then draw on top of that. Another way is just to take a cube and just sculpt the dang thing. So today I think that's what I'm going to do, is just sculpt the dang thing. So I'm going to grab this cube, and then we're just going to insert it in space here. Actually, I want to reset this gizmo again, and then draw it, snap it. I don't have mirror turned on, so it's just going to give me 1, which is fine. I'm going to snap it this way, scale it down, thin, about as thin as I would think those feathers would be, and then scaling this out. This is kind of box modeling in a way, I guess, or traditional polygon modeling. I'm just going to scale it down this direction because I'm going to cut it and then pull it back. Okay, whoops. I'm going to click on the Z modeler brush, and then by default, the edge Z modeler function is insert edge loop, but not multiple edge loops. Again, you can click on multiple or you can leave it at single. I'm going to change it over to single. What multiple will do is it will allow you to insert multiple edge loops, but if you click it, it's going to put it right like dead center. I don't know why it's giving me all these. If I let go, there it goes. So if you're ever wanting to insert a loop right in the middle, that's how you do it. Otherwise, you're guessing. Okay, so if I click on single edge loop, if I click, it's just going to put it wherever I select. You can drag it around, but yeah, you don't get to put it right in the middle. So that's a little tip for you. Okay, I'm going to mask this off and then pull it up. Okay, why didn't it go? Is that unmasked or what is happening? There it goes. Okay. Sometimes the masking, you can't really tell if it's masked or not because it's vertex based, so point based, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so there's kind of that shape, and the bottom is a bit rounded. It's not straight either. So I'm going to pull that up. And now I'm going to round these feathers out a little bit. And how you do that is, well, there's a couple ways, but what I want to do is just, I'm going to uncrease it and then subdivide it. That's the easiest way. So I'm actually going to split it off because I don't want to subdivide that, the feather stump just yet. So I'm going to do split hidden, and that puts it in its own group here. And then we can just move this on down to here. And then just kind of orient this new feather. Okay, and then I'm just going to make 3 of them and just kind of splay them out. This is kind of, I can't really tell what it looks like from any direction except for this one, so I got to make it up. Right, so if I subdivide this, what's going to happen is it's going to crunch it on down like this. So let's see what happens if I say uncrease all. All right. So I'm going to have to put some support loops in here or crease the edges. I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. I think what I want to do is add another edge loop to support in the center. Okay, so if I put one here, maybe like this, and maybe one more on the other side like this. And then let's see what that looks like. It's not as thick as I want. Okay, I'm going to undo those two. And then we're going to try some creases. Just see if we can get it to work. Let's do a group by normals. Group by normals, what it typically does is it will group anything past whatever you have set right here. By default, it's 45 degrees. So anything that's past 45 degrees, it's going to give you a new poly group, like the ones on these edges and the ones on these ends here. So what I want to do now is I'm going to crease these, or crease by poly group. Okay, which is right here in my menu. Crease PG, that's what that stands for, crease poly group. And if we turn that on, what we want to do is make sure our crease level is set to 3. And then we're going to crank this dynamic subdivision level up past 3. Because what that means is it's going to hold on to those creased edges until it's past whatever number you set. Okay, but here I want to do a crease, edge loop complete, and I'm going to go around the outside to kind of give it that look, to make sure it kind of pops up to here. And but I don't want it to have like a snub-nosed feather down here. So I'm going to actually uncrease that. And it's easier to select these edges when dynamic is not turned on. So I'm going to I turned that off, and I'm going to go to crease edge rather than edge loop complete. Hold down Alt to uncrease these two, and I'll hit solo so I can see this other side, and I'll uncrease these two. I guess I could have creased the entire thing manually. That probably would have been more efficient. Okay, so now it kind of gives me that shape that I'm looking for. You know, I still don't know if I like this middle being creased. I'm going to add some support loops and uncrease this. So going back to edge loop partial, uncrease it, and then add the edge loop back in. So let's do insert. I could bevel it too. Let's try bevel so you guys can see what that looks like. I'll do bevel, edge loop complete, and that just takes one and splits it into 2. But it also gives you a new poly group in between. So hey Josh, it's down in the description. His name's Rich Cameron, and let me show you a bunch of his art because he's fantastic. He's a really great designer, and thank you for asking. So if I go to Twitch reference Rich, he gave me a whole folder of his art. But here, this is look at all these. They're so good. I modeled this this Bigfoot before, but he has a hammerhead design too. It's right here. He just has this really graphic and hilarious sense of art and design. It's so good. But yeah, Rich Cameron. Okay. Now I want to add, I'm going to add one more loop around the middle just to add some thickness because it's kind of getting too thin and a bit lost. So let's see what that looks like. Sometimes you never know what it's going to do or what it's going to look like until you actually do it. But I'm going to put an edge loop in here and subdivide it down again. I don't know if I like that because see how it's like, the crease is like loose up here and then it gets tight down here, and that's because I have that support loop now. So if I undo that, get it out of there, see this is what it looks like normally, and I think I'm going to have to just go with that. Where did my creased edges go? I think my bevel like got rid of the ones in the middle. That's what happened. Okay. I'm like, what is going on? Where did my bubbles go? Or my creases. So let's do crease, edge, bonk. That should make a huge difference in keeping the. Did it get rid of these too? It did. All right, here, we're just going to do it again. So here's another thing you can do is you can just hit Control W, put this entire thing in one poly group, and then you can hover over a face in Z modeler mode, and then I'm going to go to poly group, and then there's this selection mode called poly loop. Okay, so poly group, poly loop, poly. Okay, and if I hover over this, you'll see there's this little orange line, and that's like a direction indicator line. So if I click on that in the direction that I want, it's going to select the poly loop of that whole thing. And then I can say crease poly groups. That's what I wanted. Okay, so now when yeah, there it is. That's the shape I wanted. Sorry for that taking so stinking long to make one stupid feather. Sent you Rich's link in Discord. Okay, thank you. Okay, incoming link. There we go. Okay, now let's bury this feather into his feather stump. And then we can duplicate it like so. And then offset it. So it's funny that these are like hanging down. And this is still the color of his neck. I need him to be the color of not his neck. the dark feather. Lord Dark Feather. Okay. So let's fill these, and then we'll grab the stem and fill that. Okay, let's I need to work out this kind of, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this end. I think what I want to do, because it'll be funny, is to scale this up and then use Sculptris Pro to kind of soften it all. So it kind of, it's almost like a hand with these fingers coming off, you know? And then I'll adjust these feathers to be better. They're kind of all over the place. So let's do that. Okay, Sculptris Pro is still on. So I can, if I just hit it with Sculptris Pro, it's going to do something like this. I could actually flood fill the whole thing. Get a big brush and just kind of go whoop. And that does add a lot of polys, but it evens everything out. I can hit Control W a couple times so you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. I'm going to use inflate. Now, man, I need to write a note, Neil. I'm going to write it to you. Turn Sculptris off for inflate. There you go. There's a little message for you, which is actually a message for me. Okay, because I don't like Sculptris to be, or yes, I don't like inflate to actually generate topology because it kind of works against itself when it does. Okay. This is like a reverse hair follicle. And that's going to give me something to bury these feathers in. Now I can do auto groups, which will give each of these feathers their own group. Like that one, and this one is going to go kind of down here. And I'm going to spin it a different direction. Like maybe over here. Yeah, let's take a look at this from the back. Okay. I think that works. Okay, I just don't want it peeking out this side. See how that's coming out of there. Whoops, I only want to move this one. What's cool about this gizmo is it doesn't really matter where it is in your scene. You can move stuff around. Even if it's like way over here, you can still grab it. And I usually use screen space move, which are these little corners. And now I can just move it around like that. Okay. Feathers. All right. They're kind of splayed out a little. I need to make them more droopy. More droopy. I can't do a droopy voice. Let's roll this down. Listen to the Mass Effect soundtrack. Man, that game is so good. Let's see here. Well, okay. Mask this one off. I'm trying to mask off this so I can bend it down like that. There we go. And then I think I want to insert maybe one more here. So this feather is a little different than the rest of them. Insert, single edge loop. You guys played Mass Effect series? It's so good. Now I'll get that roundness. I think I might do it to this one as well, just to give this upper section some roundness. Okay. I like it. Let's save it. Save next. There we go. These feathers aren't big enough. Need to be much bigger. So I'm going to mask off. Actually, okay. I was like, the stem is in a different location. Different subtool. All right, let's turn this like this. Scale them a little bit. And then uniformly scale them bigger. There we go. That feels good. You can see him doing this as he's walking across the yard. All right. Let's give him some. Should we work on his head next? Can't believe that. Just this little bit has taken me 50 minutes. Okay. Man, I keep looking for my insert. Oh, it's been replaced by clay tubes. Why? Let's get that back. There we go. Okay. Now, when you insert a brush, it's going to take on whatever color you have currently active. And in this case, it's yellow because I just picked it. Now his eyes are different sizes, but I wanted to get two of them in symmetrically to start with. We'll kind of rest them down into the head and then split them off. Arrow down to select them. There we go. Okay. We might as well just make them asymmetrical. So how we do that is just do auto groups, turn off symmetry, then we can mask one of them. You can center your gizmo in that unmasked area by holding Alt and clicking on this guy. So we can scale this one down. Invert selection, center that, scale this one up a bit. I know this is in perspective, but I think it's funny to have asymmetrical eyes. Okay, and he's got these like these lower eyelids. I'm just going to use spheres and then like scrunch them down. So let's duplicate these because they're already in place. And then just scale this down. It's kind of inside. You can't really see. There you go. And then we'll just fill them with this color. So, okay. And we can center this and just scale them down even more. Maybe give them a tilt. Man, the Harry Potter soundtrack is so good. Okay, something like that. I think there's actually two. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in. Yeah, there's two of them, like two rows. So, and I think this is just shadow from this one, but I think it's funny, so funny is money. We're going to put a second one below that. But let's move the head around to match this a little bit. And we're going to make it asymmetrical too, so because these eyes are asymmetrical. So turn that off. Grab the move brush. Grab this guy too. Just kind of edit it a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to turn on topological because I don't want to move this one. Okay, sometimes I keep my wireframe turned on just so I can understand what I have selected and what I'm moving, and then the density of it tells me. That way I know kind of how strong to make my smooth brush and that kind of stuff. Let's see, let's turn Sculptors Pro back on. Kind of smooth this out. All right, this guy's hilarious. I love him, but I don't want to have this. So this is like curling in. I just want it to go straight. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of use this clip curve brush and just clip it like so. Clip it right at that apex and then move that up to meet. Yeah, something like that. I'll give the beak a place to be. And then I'll kind of smooth this out in the valley between the eyeballs. I live in the valley. Okay, something like this. I just want to make it look like it's ice cream cone of sorts. And then we'll just smooth this down right here. And on the other side, just smooth it on down. Maybe, come on, let's see. Bring that in. You know, it'd be good soundtrack to add to this list is Genshin Impact. I think that's a good soundtrack, I think. I have The Witcher, Harry Potter, and like Benjamin Button, some weird ones like that. Inception, that's a really good soundtrack. I love this head. It makes me laugh. Okay. Now we're cooking with grease. That's what my friend Mel says all the time. This is a little too taper, or too much volume in here. I think I need smooth stronger. Neil, I haven't gotten my smooth stronger. I do for ZBrush 2022, but this is 25 and I haven't merged it over yet. As you can see, these two are still there. So gotta go fetch smooth stronger, which is in the brush menu under smooth stronger. And it should go much quicker. Okay. All right. This just makes me laugh. Okay, let's make that that beak, that banana beak. We'll grab this sphere. Let's turn off Sculptors Pro for a minute. And then I envision this just being a sphere that's been kind of sliced to make this. Okay, I want to kind of make it longer, narrower. Okay. And then I'm just kind of looking at that arc. Okay. And then we'll get the knife brush. Well, let's delete lower first. Get this knife cut brush. Here, let's do a save next. Just anytime I do something like this, I like to save it just in case it doesn't like what I'm doing and decides to leave us and crash. Okay, so this is the knife curve. And basically how it works, I'll just let go. Okay, that's hilarious. You click Shift plus Control, and then you drag the curve out like this, and you'll notice that it's snapping. So I'm going to let go of Shift while continuing to hold Control. Now I can move it around like this, and if I add spacebar, I can move it in the scene. Okay, and if I let go of the spacebar, I can do this. And then if I want to add a curve to it, I just tap Alt once, and now it's got a curve. And then I can just kind of line it up where I want it. And then anything on the faded side of that white line is going to get cut. And that's what happened. But it does fill it with white. So I'm going to need to fill that like so. I love this beak. All right. And put it in down there. And then it's kind of off kilter a little bit and a little wide. So I'm going to scale it down and just kind of turn it just slightly. Then bring it down even more. There we go. I'll split it off. Let's do that. I like to, any material changes, I like to put them in their own subtool. You can see my list kind of growing here. Okay, and then what I want to do is I'm going to dupe this eyelid like I said I would and make a second set of wrinkles, but slightly smaller. So what I'm going to do is, you can see it says control to inflate. I'm going to deflate these just to make them smaller, and then grab my move brush. I just kind of work them around just so they're about, I don't know, half the size of the ones above. Just so it's kind of a tiered step down eyelid bag, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so these, I want them to kind of touch. So I'm going to use inflate and inflate them together. All right. Do you guys have any questions while I'm doing this? Maxon, okay. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, I love Blender Bros. Whoops. Okay, let's clear this out. Well, okay. Now I'm gonna just give him these little tiny pupils. And then we're just gonna kind of insert them like this. They're, you know what? They're kind of flat cylinders. I'm gonna try that. It's hilarious how people put everything into Messi versus Ronaldo. Yeah, pretty much. It's funny because I use Blender too, you know. It's good at a lot of things. But sculpting, it's just okay at, you know. I love rendering in it. They're too small. Okay. Too small. Whoops. Are these in the same? Yeah, I gotta split them off. Okay, there we go. Okay, those are fun. Now, request to developers, could you release a demo version for training? I'm not a developer. I'm just a volunteer here and just showing off the software. Yeah, I don't, since this is the Maxon channel, I can't really go into it much. I'll just say one thing is that I actually have an official 3D character workshop add-on for Blender. It's kind of hidden a little bit, but yeah, I do have one. I'm always afraid to put it on the Blender marketplace, which is now, they changed it to something else, but I have some retopo tools in there that kind of work like 3D coat. Okay. I want to try something, a trick that I'll show you guys. See how this is I should do this later on, but I just want to show you. I have these eyes selected. I'm going to duplicate them and then increase their size along their normals. And then I'm going to flip the normals. Let's see how you can see them like this. And then I'm going to fill it with mRGB. I'm going to choose this flat color, and then I'm going to choose black. And then fill it. The heck? What just happened? Why did it fill it with with red? Okay, that was completely bazonkers. Yeah, those eye bags. You can do a 14-day trial over on the Maxon site. There you go. Hopefully that helps. Thanks, Neil. All right, so that's how you can kind of get a cartoon shader. You can kind of cheat it, and you basically take an object, select it, invert that. Probably what I would do is after I'm all done, I would like select all of the parts, duplicate, and then merge them all together, like sew them all together, and then increase the along normal, increase all that along normals, and then invert it, and then fill it with black. Okay, let's make his little his rooster. He doesn't have his little gobbler thing. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate these tail parts to create this thing. Anyway, I worked on this game on the PlayStation a long time ago called Calling All Cars, and it had a cartoon rendered looking vibe to it, and that's how I did it for all the characters. This is how you work smarter, not harder, kids. Except for when I rotated it, it did some weirdness because it was symmetrical. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, then I'm gonna grab this red, and I want to split this off too. Okay, on this one, I want the second one to be centered. Come on. That still is cracking me up. Blender's better. Okay, thanks, bye. Oh my gosh, people. I'm gonna make this thicker too. And aim it a little higher. And then bend it. Like it is. Okay. That's that middle one. Let's do the second one. For this one, I'm going to bend it. I feel like it's aimed like this. thicker. And then I'm going to actually chop it. Weld the points down, essentially. So if I go to the Z Modeler brush, hover over a point, click on stitch, and then to end point is where I want it to go. If I click on one and then click on another, it's going to weld it. And then click on one, click on the other. We'll do it to these. One. Then this last one. There we go. Yay, Z Modeler. Shame you can't say it in the voice of the comic book guy from the oh, crap. Yeah. Blender is so much better. I can't do a good job with him. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete or remove this edge and then reshape this, grabbing move infinite so it goes all the way through, shaping it like this. There we go. Now, I think I want to crease these edges. So I'm going to cover over this edge and say crease, edge, click, click. There we go. That's the shape. Let's do this final one. Now, this is pretty much the same shape as this one, so I'm going to delete this guy. And then duplicate this one. Something like this. A little skinnier, but it kind of converges all at the same place. But I want this guy to be going out the other way, like look at this. So when I look at him from the front, it's like all brr. All right, now let's kind of conjoin them all down into this thing. So I'm just going to make a sphere. Maybe this one. Man, I don't know why my throat's so. It has to be cleared. Shrink this down. Then we're just going to pull it all into place. So this is kind of going to be like the stem, the feather stem, but I want it to end between his eyes back here and kind of bend a little bit. Man, that's pretty funny. Okay, now I can, let's see. I'm going to use Sculptors Pro and turn off dynamic. Actually, I need to split this off. You don't want to use dynamic with Sculptors Pro. They just don't go together. Like it'll bog your system. Might even crash ZBrush. Because Sculptris Pro makes a whole bunch of little little triangles like this for the most part. There are a few quads in there, but mostly triangles. And what dynamic subdivision is doing is it's multiplying it times 4, which is one subdivision level, times 3 times. So it's packing all this geometry down into every single one of those triangles, and it just slows the entire system down. So it's not a good look. All right. So I'm going to use this clip curve brush, and we're just going to flatten this side here. Like this. And then flatten this side like this. Just to make it look more like the gobbler thing. Whatever this is, the crown. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I don't know my roosters very well. That's probably good enough for what it is. Okay, I think I need to make his pupils even bigger. They're not. I'm kind of erring on the small side, but something like that maybe. Okay. So you apply the subdivisions before using Sculptris. Either that or you just turn it off. Yeah, either way. If you apply them, so dynamic subdivision is just temporary. It's like a preview of what you're gonna get. It's almost like a modifier in Blender, you know, like a multi-level subdivision modifier in Blender. I can't remember what it's called, multi something. So it's just a preview, and when you apply it, it actually makes the subdivisions real, and then you have to go down into the geometry section and hit delete lower to actually bake those subdivisions into your mesh, and then you can use dynamic. Well, I keep saying dynamic topology, but that's what it is. But in ZBrush, it's called Sculptris Pro. So, okay, let's do the feeties. Okay, I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a long time, and that is use Z-spheres. I know, stop the presses. Here we go. Before we do that, I'm gonna take his body and squish it. I think I like his pudgy body better. Save. Yeah, it does auto save, but that's a good point. I'm going to do a save next. Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to move his tail. Okay, where is the stem? There it is. Merge it down. Merge down. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. Because this is, yeah, croissant toes. The split hidden. For the same reason, because this stem is Sculptris Pro. So what I can do is I can Z-remesh this guy. So let's do that really quick. Z-remesh. Let's do like 1000. There we go. That's better. Now I can merge them together. But I want to flood fill it with this color. Merge down. Now I can move this tail into place. There we go. Can I just say the Ratatouille soundtrack is incredible. It's so good. Come on. just wants to grab this thing. Okay. I can do the same thing with his eye stalks. This thing, we can just Z-remesh that at a 1 again. And what that does is it just cleans it up. So Sculptris Pro I typically use to experiment with and get my shapes right. And then I will typically Z-remesh it eventually to clean it up and to make it low. And I don't know why this is taking so long. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, wish it wouldn't get rid of the vertex coloring. Just gonna lift this up and out of that body. Okay, and I can do the same thing with this beak. Since we chopped it up, it's just kind of a mess. But I like the level of resolution. Maybe half. Let's do half. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna grab this color first though. Okay, Z-remesh half. That's much better. Let's do half again. Again. It's not going down. Oh. Sometimes Z-remesher is not the greatest. Okay. And then I can combine all of these if I wanted to and Z-remesh those if I wanted. Yeah, should I do that? Oh, I'm missing the little twerb off the back. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Let's go. Okay, so you were asking about yeah, P. Stewart's. So what I would do is I would apply this like this. See, it's now applied. But if you go down here to geometry, see now it has 5 levels of subdivisions. I'm going to say delete lower. So now we have this, and I want to merge these into this. So I'm going to go take this and go merge down. Okay. And now we can stitch these together. 2025 has keep poly paint for Z-remesh. Oh, nice. Okay, I did not know that. I'll have to look. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go into this gear and then click on this remesh by union, which will stitch everything together. Hit accept. And now they're all together. There is one kind of unit. So now I can turn Sculptris Pro on if it's not on already. And just kind of smooth this junction out. See that? And I can kind of go through and smooth everything out because it's a little too hard-edged for my taste for this. And just kind of sculpt it all out. And by smoothing, if anything gets too smooth or too low, then I can come in with inflate this back, smooth it down. Okay, and then I want to get that little twerben coming out of there. That's the official term, twerben. I'm just going to grab snake hook and just pull it out. Whoops, I don't want this color. And just snake hook it out of there. Okay. And then if you get it too round, you can hit it with H polish, which the code for H polish is BHP. Then you can just come back in here and hit it with that. And it'll kind of bring, you gotta be careful with it because it'll it can kind of cut down into things that you don't want it to. Yeah, see how it's kind of cutting into that? That's not what I wanted. That's not what I ordered. Take it back. And you can hold down Alt on the H polish brush, and it'll actually pull the material up to meet the brush instead of pushing it down to polish. So it kind of fills in gaps and things if you accidentally make some gaps. Okay. That's kind of fun. All right. And I could do the same thing with the tail, but I'm not going to do that right now. Kind of want to inflate this whole area down here. Maybe I'll shrink it, push it down closer to his head. Okay. I feel like his head is a little too, it's not big enough. And it's too high. Like, let's do some adjustments here. So I'm going to grab this neck piece, mask it off, invert that mask, blur it out, and then turn on this transpose all selected subtools, get my gizmo kind of down in the middle of that masked area, down in here, and then clear everything and only select the objects I want to move. So basically all this stuff, and then scale it up. Maybe I want to scale it from here and then shorten it down. Yeah, shorter. And then I'll have to fix his like neck stock thing. I want to turn the whole thing, like rotate it so he's looking sideways, not straight. Okay. Turn this off. Clear that, and now I can work with these stocks. Now, I've already remeshed this, so I need to turn Sculptress off. Otherwise, it'll ruin my nice topology here. Nice-ish topology. There we go. Okay. Now let's get his feet. I want to try doing let's see, save as. I want to try using Z-spheres. I haven't used them for quite some time. But that's gonna change today. What I need to do is an insert. So if I go down to this Z-sphere right here, it's going to give it to you right there. I'm not going to mirror this just yet, but I'm going to do, I'm going to move it up here. W is move, E is scale. Scale it down like this. Kind of get it into place where it should start. Kind of back like this. Okay. And then you want to draw. So if you look up top here, you can also click on these buttons, but if you hit draw, then you'll actually like draw out a new sphere. And if I hit W, I can move that, get a smaller brush. Because I kind of want to, I'm going to bury this in there. Have it going backwards. Let's draw another one. Q is draw. Now I can either draw another one on the bottom of this, or I could just click in the middle here, and that will put like insert one in the middle. And I can bring it down. I'm gonna kind of move it so he's bow-legged-ish, or pigeon-toed, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, hit Q, click in here to draw one, and then move this. And I believe R is rotate, E is scale, so I can scale this up. Come on, scale. Okay, scale is up and down. It's been a long time since I messed with this thing. Could you please recap again how to do the black outline in the eyes? I rewatched it, but I'm not getting it. Yeah, you're just duplicating the object, inverting the normals, like flipping the normals, and then filling it with like a color like black, and then filling it with a flat material like this flat material right here, because you don't want it catching light essentially. So it's kind of a cheat. Does that make sense? Or did I explain that too fast? Again. I'll do it again with these feet maybe, or something else. Sorry, one sec. I have a mat under my feet and it flopped over. Okay. So I'm gonna hit Q, draw the toe, move it down something like this. And I can also make his other two toes. I don't know if I want to though. I think I'm gonna just make them out of spheres. I just wanted to get this blocked in like this. Okay, it's been so long since I've done Z-spheres. I'm trying to remember how to do it. Can't remember where it's at, where to make it into its own mesh. Is it adaptive skin? Make adaptive skin. Yeah, I can preview it. Okay, there it is. Yep, make adaptive skin. Boom. All right, that should have done it. Does it make a new? Oh, it makes a new tool. Okay. So let me append that now in here and then hide this. Okay, grab this color. Okay, it needs to be much, much bigger. Yeah, flipping the normals. Yep, on my interface, if you have my interface, it's just right here, flip. If you don't, you just come down to display properties, and it's right there, flip normals. That's it. Yep, no worries. Just smooth this leg out. Turn on AccuCurve to get, whoops. What did my brush? It just flew underneath my Cintiq here. All right, just kind of shaping this croissant here. As Neil so aptly called it. Okay. I'm gonna grab this appendage, insert it on this side here. It's almost the shape I need it. Whoops. I just did a whole bunch of little appendages. And I'll just shape that. Okay, and then I can just duplicate this over to the other side. Just spin it around. It's kind of shaped and facing the wrong way, but nothing a little bit of move brush won't fix. Get out of here. Okay. Nice rooster feet. Okay, but I need them to be much bigger, like twice the size or more. So I'm just going to mask it off at the ankle, blur that out, invert it, scale it up. Maybe that big. Okay, so now I want to mirror that foot, but in ZBrush it's a little bit tricky. You can't really mirror from screen right to screen left. So you usually hit mirror first to stick it over there, and then you can click on mirror and weld, which will mirror it back across this way. Then you can turn on symmetry, and very good. Good to go. Okay. Now we can Z-remesh it. I'm going to click on same. Let's see. I need to look at the Z-remesher because Neil said you can keep color. Key poly paint. There we go. I don't know if I want to keep groups. Let's try it. Keep groups. Half. Let's do half. That starts to clean up this garbage right here. Okay. Like each hit it gets better. There we go. That's clean. Okay. I'm happy with that. Okay, now what we can do to make these lines, we can either like physically cut them in, like with the Z modeler brush. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's do that. So let's do Z modeler brush. And then we're just going to make these lines first so we can do them all together. So polygroup, polyloop, we'll do that one. Let's do one here. Maybe right here. Okay. And this one has 3, so let's start here. And then maybe here. Okay. Okay, so now that we have those polygroup lines, we can go back to the Z modeler, hover over a face, do extrude polygroup all, and then we can just bring them on in, something like that. And then if I turn on dynamic subdivisions, it kind of looks like this. They're a little too wide. So what I'm going to do is take the time to kind of shrink these in. So let's do slide, edge loop complete. And I'm just going to slide these closer together like this. Okay. There we go. This one I want to kind of bring up here. There we go. A little centered more. Okay, Z modeler and extrude polygroup. I'll do it again. Push those in. That's better. And we can do like crease the upper edges and inside there too if we want to. Which I think I might. Do I want to? Let's see what it looks like at least. But I don't think I want to crease like down inside, so we'll do crease, edge loop complete, and let's hit these two and then just take a look at what that looks like. Maybe if I do crease level 3 and then crank this up to 4. Let's do crease level 2. Let's soften those up, but they're not softening. I think it's because this edge loop on the inside is so close to this one, it's making it be really sharp. So let's go crease level 1 maybe. There we go. It's kind of like undercutting on itself, looking weird. So what I would have to do is I'd have to slide that interior edge closer together. So slide. But that's kind of a pain to sit and do that while streaming. I would take the time and do it myself if I wasn't streaming, but yeah, see, that's kind of the look I want. Because these are too wide, you know? Okay, it shouldn't take long. Bear with me. Whoops. So I'm just going to kind of bring these edges in to make a shallower valley. On all of these pieces, at least we have symmetry, so it won't take as long. Collapse? No, I don't. I want to have that. I don't want to have it be a single valley down in there. I want it to be a double. So I'll just move them closer, because that'll give a tighter, more geometry down in the valley there. It's a good suggestion though. Okay, another thing I could do is I could do an insert edge loop. Instead of a crease along these edges, I could just bring an edge loop kind of close like this. And what that'll do is create like a softer bevel than this even. Okay, but I think I'm just going to crease it. The reason I prefer creasing over inserting edge loops is it's more non-destructive, more editable. Because it's really easy to change the crease level, you know, but it's kind of difficult to go in there and add and move the edge loops. It takes longer. And I can also add some edge loops just to give these corners some creased edges. And then I can grab this and just kind of pull it to give me a more of a corner. There's a option inside of ZModeler that's called transpose. So like if I could mask this off the traditional way with looping, like with the mask lasso, but you can also hover over this edge, hit spacebar and click on transpose, and transpose edge loop complete. Then click on an edge and it'll mask everything off except for that one edge. And now I can move it. Make a sharper kind of an ankle there. Then I want to smooth the transitions to and from that edge. So I'm going to keep that masked. Yeah, ZModeler is great. Transpose. Okay. Now we have little chicky feet, and let's fill them. I guess it didn't keep my poly paint for some reason. I didn't notice when it lost that. All right, let's do the cartoon outline trick with the feet. So you can grab these feet, duplicate, and then what you want to do is use this control to inflate option right here, because you want to inflate them bigger than the on their normals. Okay, and then we're going to pick black and then hit flip, fill object, and then grab this material, hit MRGB, there we go, flat, fill object, and go back to this. Hey, it didn't give me that red wax this time. Anyway, that's, yeah, it's not perfect, you know, it kind of gives you some weirdness here and there, but if you look at it from kind of a distance, it's a pretty good outline, you know. But that said, it's kind of a destructive thing, which means if you change anything on the foot itself, you're going to have to redo that outline, because the outline will not be the same as the foot itself. And it's kind of difficult to rig. If you were going to set up a rig for this guy, you can transfer weights between the two things, since the geometry is exactly the same. It will fall within the envelope of the same thing. So it's not too difficult, but it can be kind of cumbersome a little bit. Okay, let's see. We got 10 minutes. Think we can do a wing in 10 minutes? Of course we can. I got my guy bending over a little too much. I need to lift his head up. Okay, so let's insert a sphere. Let's do a save as really quick, since we got his feet looking good. Man, I gotta stop yawning. Okay, whoops, let's do a sphere, not a appendage. Squish these on down. Let's turn on local symmetry, turn off dynamic. Come on, baby. There we go. And then I'm going to rotate them into the body a little bit like this. Elongate them. Okay, and then split unmask points. And if you guys are new here, just very quickly, I have this user interface that I give away for free along with my brushes and a ruler file. That's just over on 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can find a link in the description. I also teach an online course called the 3D Character Workshop. That's what this logo is underneath my head. Hey, what's up, Daniel? So you can go check that out if you want. And then I don't advertise it much, but I also have a mentorship that it's like a yearly mentorship. And if you want feedback for a year, that's it's group coaching. And there are some spots open right now, even though I haven't mentioned it to my audience yet, or for a while I have, but I haven't mentioned it for a little bit. So if you're interested, you can just go to the 3dcharacterworkshop.com, click on that contact link, and then send me a message and just say, hey, I'm interested in the mentorship. And I can take a look at your portfolio. We can go over your goals. And then I can help you reach your goals. It's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it for more than like, what, 2 years now, Neil? Is it? It's been a while. We have a private community, and it's kind of an alternative to going to a university. I did teach at a university for a little bit. So it's like having access to a university professor for a year. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. I just finished a model last week. Hammerhead from Star Wars. It turned out pretty good. It looks like this. You're just coming in late. Yeah, this is from last week. I rendered it in Blender. But yeah, if you want to watch me sculpt this thing, the last, how many sessions? Like 4 parts. You can watch me model this thing. So, yeah. Has it been 3 years, really? What's pretty crazy is I have 3 years worth of coaching calls that you can watch back. They're all like all available day one. So if you're interested, let me know. But if you aren't ready for a mentorship yet, again, I have my 3D Character Workshop you can check out. That's been going on for 8 years. 8 years worth of content in that thing. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna remesh this. Let's go 1000. That's good. Okay. Okay, you guys, I think I need to raise his head up, but I think this is good. Here, let's just raise his head up. We got a little bit. I'll show you how I do it. Okay, blur. Oops. I don't want his leggies. What? Okay, there we go. Just want this stuff. Turn his head even a little more. He's looking for his hens. Too funny. Okay. Let's put it in perspective. All right, I think that about wraps it up for this week, you guys. I don't know where these white creases are coming from right there. Okay. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I think that'll do it for this one. I'll start with a new one next week. Yeah, it should be fun. And have a wonderful week, you guys. Happy sculpting, and we'll see you all next time. All right, cheers. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Neil. We'll see ya.